Well, here we have the most expensive Chevrolet car for 1971 in Brazil. And here you have the most expensive Chevrolet car in Brazil for 1998. 27 years between these two cars. And they still have quite a few things in common. They're both four-door sedans. They're both branded as Chevrolet, although they have European Opel-based body shells. They're both rear-wheel drive, but they have something more intimate in common between them. They both have the Chevrolet 250 inline six. This particular car is one of the very first Chevrolets in Brazil to have the 250. That here is called the 4.1. That was introduced exactly in the 1971 model line. Up to 1970, Chevrolet was using the 230, the 3.8 in the Chevrolet Opala, the 230 and the 153, and for the 6 and the 4 cylinders version. For 1971, you had both the 230 and the 250 engines, being the 250 only available to the SS and to the Gran Luxo versions. So this car has a pretty low serial number for 1971. It was probably still produced in 1970, but a 1971 model. So it's one of the first, probably. It's very likely to be one of the first 250 engines equipped cars produced here in Brazil. In the next year, in the following year, for 1972, the 230 was discontinued, and the only option for the 6-cylinder was the 250 in the whole line, and that came along with the Chevrolet Opala all his life up to 1992. Yes, General Motors produced this car with some very extreme facelifts up to 1992. But in 992 as a 993 model, General Motors in Brazil released the Chevrolet Omega. That was basically the Opel Omega with two versions of engine, the 2.0 and the 3.0, both Opel engines. So the car was very similar to the car that was sold in Europe at that time. But the problem is that the CD version, that was the top of the line, Comfort Diamond, the CD version was only available with the 6-cylinder, with the 3-liter. But Opel was going to discontinue the 3-liter in 1994, because in 1994 Opel was going to release the Omega B. This is the Omega A, it's the first generation of the Omega, and in the next year it would be replaced by the Omega B with the V6 engine instead of the Opel inline 6. So General Motors was not using the 250 in cars anymore. They were still using in light trucks, but not in cars since April 1992. And what they did for the 1995 model, they didn't have the 3-liter from Germany anymore. So they took the old 250, sent it all the way to Lotus in England, and Lotus prepared a version of this engine for the 90s. So it was very strongly refurbished in Lotus. The first version was a twin turbo with plus than 300 HP, and then they were cutting. And the end, you have the 250 with 168 HP. What they basically did was to relieve weight and put a decent SFI injection. So you have an injected 4.1. It's funny that when this car was released in 1994, it's a 1995 model, and I saw this engine cover with this 4.1 liter. The design of this 4 remind me a lot the design of this 4. That's a very rare emblem. This emblem only came out in the 6-cylinder Gran Luxo, Chevy Opala Gran Luxo in 1971. It's a very rare emblem. And it was very familiar for me at that time. So, General Motors in Brazil used the 250 in the Omega in 95, 96, 97, and 98 model. And this car is a 98 model, and it's one of the last 100 unities. So this is one of the last 100 cars in the world to use the 250, the Chevy 250 engine in a passenger car. They remain using this for 3 more years in light trucks, but not in cars anymore. So let's turn that on. This is an unrestored car. Works like a Swiss clock. It's has a very nice interior. Very 70s with the lace flower. This car, we didn't use it for a couple years. We just changed all the fuel from the tank, so it needs to be used a bit more. The 71 is easier. Here it goes. This is a very low mileage car. It's 26,000 kilometers. It's about what, 16,000 miles. It's a car that was not almost not used. The guy that the first owner of this car died a couple of years after he bought the car. He's an old guy, and he didn't use it much. So the two 4.1 liters, the two 250s working together, 27 years between them. Sorry, Greta. This car has a lot of things to reduce emissions, but not that one. So let's go for a quick drive. This car doesn't have one of the options that I like a lot. That is the 4 on the floor. This car has a carpet here, but when the first owner purchased it, he asked in the dealership to put this rubber mat in order to protect the carpet once that he used it to go to his farm, and the kids would get inside the car with dirt shoes. So to protect, he put this rubber mat from the Opala basic version. So the carpet here is almost brand new. Very lucky. But I would like this car to have the 4 on the floor. I have another Gran Luxo 1971. That is 4 on the floor, but it's a 4-cylinder. It's a 153. It's very smooth, very silent. Doesn't have a steering. Doesn't have a hydraulic steering wheel. It's not hydraulic steering wheel. It's the hydraulic system. I'm gonna learn the words that I forgot. Just give me some time. We purchased this car from the son of the one owner. The first owner died. Their car stayed in the house to the son to take care, and we purchased it in 2013, 7 years ago. From the son of the only owner of the car. It's a nice car. My father had one in 1971. He purchased a 1970 230, 3.8 liters. Yes, 3.8 liters. 3-speed. There was no 4-speed before 1971. It was not available. Now we go for this one. This car can be a very, very fast car. Not because of the engine, that is okay, but because of of its CX transmission relation. So it's a car that it go very easily over 200 kilometers an hour, 210, 215, 220 in the downhills. The CX is only 0.98. It really cuts the air perfectly. I had one. I had a mid-trim of this car in 1995. It was a Omega GLS. The GLS could either be 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder. It was a GLX 250 4.1. You could go to 200 very easily, not very fast, but very easily, very smoothly. And then when you go back to 150, the car was so quiet that you wanted to open the door and leave the car walking. The sensation was that you're standing in the road. This is a 5-speed. If you want to listen to the engine, at least let's open the window. And there she is again. It's a very nice car. It's very good in curves. And as I told before, is one of the last 100 cars with 250 engine in the world. So here they are. Let's make a last turnover view of both. This door needs a little adjust. So write down in the comments if you could have one of these two 250 inline 6 engine Chevrolet sedans, which one would you pick? The 1971 Chevrolet Opala or the 1998 Chevrolet Omega? Okay, and as a bonus here, we have the 1973 Dodge Charger R&T, Brazilian Dodge Charger. As I said in previous videos, they're all 318. The golden version of 318 with a higher compression ratio. Has a higher compression ratio. It has leather bucket seats from factory for the floor. Whoops. If you don't press it well, you cannot close the hood. Can make a video of this car, telling the story of it. We found this car, I mean, the previous owner of this car found it with only 40,000 kilometers, with 25,000 miles in, I don't know the name of the place that you raise chicken, a chicken house, whatever, in the countryside of the Rio de Janeiro state. The car was lying there since the 70s, after the oil crisis. The gasoline got so expensive that people just trashed away those cars. So it remained there for a couple decades, and then the guy bought it, kept it without restoring for another couple decades, and then we did a proper restoration. It's black and white. It fits with the dog, that is black and white also. So, the 1973 Brazilian Dodge Charger. People would say, oh, it's a Dart. For Brazil, it's a Charger. I know it's a Dart. It's an A-body. It's a Dart with the GTS hood and the extended C-pillars. But made history here as the Dodge Charger R&T. Okay? See ya. Bye.